I'm Kayla McCauley. I'm a meteorology major at Penn State.
I'm Kayla Landau. I'm an architecture major at Drexel University.
I'm Angela McKenzie. I'm an environmental science major at Drexel University.
And I'm Bradley Winograd, and I'm also an architecture major at Drexel University.
All right, for our capstone project, we are choosing to focus on goal number 11, which is sustainable cities and communities, and we will be building sustainable homes in Haiti. So we are modeling our homes after an earthship biotexture, which is an architectural movement aimed at designing 100% sustainable homes out of upcycled or recycled materials such as trash. So the one right over there, that home is built out of tires, and then the home right there is built out of glass bottles. So the most common materials to make the homes are tires and bottles, and then they're sealed with clay. So starting at the top, that's a perfect example. There's the tire, the glass bottles, and then it's sealed with clay. That one's being built out of tires. That one's being built out of soda cans, and then that one's being built out of beer bottles. So for our project in Haiti, we're going to be building ours out of plastic bottles because they don't produce nearly as much tires as we do in the US, and arguably plastic bottles are one of the #1 sources of trash in Haiti. So going over our goals and objectives. So our first goal is making sustainability accessible to everyone. Sustainability is a great thing, but unfortunately it is not accessible or affordable to most people, especially low-income communities or third world countries. And then build community through involvement. One of the big missions of the Earthship project is that the community gets involved. So the community is the one building the homes. So the families that will be living in the homes are the ones going to be building the homes. So we gain that sense of community through the involvement. And then provide aid while respecting the culture. We want to make sure that we are providing aid based off of their culture and not our culture and what we think is best for them based off of our perspective alone. And then build housing to withstand natural disasters because earthquakes are a big problem there. And then reducing and reusing trash. They currently don't have a trash system there, so not only will we be reusing trash, but we're also giving trash a purpose so it just doesn't end up on the streets.
So Haiti is an island in the Caribbean. It borders the Dominican Republic, and it is the most impoverished country in the Western Hemisphere. For our case study, we decided to choose Jacksonville, Haiti, which is about 3 hours outside of the capital, Port-au-Prince. We wanted to focus on rural Haiti because they have considerably higher poverty rates, with 70% of rural Haiti falling under the poverty line. So that's a huge drastic comparison to the 30% in urban Haiti. So we chose Jacksonville as our main location. It is a small town, like I said, 3 hours outside of Port-au-Prince and about an hour away from Inch, which is the closest town near it. It's very, very rural, a small community. So in Jacksonville, we want to make sure that we're looking at their culture, their community, what they have and what they need. So as you can see on your left, this is a picture of Jacksonville. As you can see, the homes in the background, mostly made out of aluminum roofs. In Haiti, they have a very hard time having access to sturdy materials. Most of their cement is almost like a mimic of cement, and it is very, very vulnerable to the environment, and it is not sturdy or sustainable. And then if they don't even have that, as many families can't have access to those kinds of building material. A lot of them will use cloths as walls or any materials they can get. And so here on our right, or your left, this is Gaby. He is a prominent figure in Jacksonville. He actually has his degree from Virginia Tech. He's from the area around Jacksonville, grew up in rural Haiti, and decided to go back to his hometown so that he can make a positive impact on his community. So when we're looking at doing these homes in Jacksonville, he's going to be our primary contact as he is fluent in English. His goal is to help his community as much as possible. So we'll be working with him to make sure our vision aligns with what best suits Jacksonville and the people there. So then the environment is an important thing when we're looking at building homes. So in Haiti, as I said, it is in the Caribbean. It is a tropical, humid climate. So when you're looking at insulation, you want to make sure there's a way for things to stay cool inside the house so they're not as susceptible to the hot weather that is in Haiti. And then another thing about Haiti is it's vulnerable to natural disasters. So Port-au-Prince had a major earthquake. It was just south of Port-au-Prince in 2010, as many of you are probably aware. So Jacksonville falls on the most side circle of this image here, but even though it is on the outside, it still was felt strongly. It was even felt in the Dominican Republic, and even though it didn't directly affect Jacksonville as much, the point is that earthquakes happen in Haiti, and they're common. So in the southern part, in Port-au-Pet, which is also on this map, in October, at the beginning of this year, they had a 5.9 magnitude earthquake as well. That wasn't really covered but well on the news this year, but the point is that Haiti is very susceptible to earthquakes, which is something we need to keep in mind when building these infrastructures for the homes. And then finally, there's a lot of trash and pollution in Haiti. So this is a picture of a street in Port-au-Prince, and although this is Port-au-Prince, the urban capital, it is important to keep in mind this is not uncommon for many of the streets in Haiti. There are dirt roads covered with trash and litter on both sides. Many of the kids will kick plastic bottles as their toy and enjoyment because they don't have access to anything else. And the point is it is very prevalent, and so we wanted to focus on a way that we can help this situation while also helping them with sustainability in their needs. And then finally, we want to make sure that we're being very aware of their culture. Like I mentioned, we're going to be keeping in contact with Gaby at all times. But another thing is to be aware is how are these people going to be susceptible to us coming in? You know, how can we make sure we're doing what they would see best fit and not putting our own modern ideas there? So a thing about Jacksonville is they're really community-based. Here on your right is the Mission House, which was finished this past March. It has been a project that's been in construction for over 10 years. And this is on the left, a celebration which was had. The entire community came. The Mission House is a staple of Jacksonville because the whole community put time into it, as well as volunteers coming in from outside of the country. So it's important to note that they have seen this kind of work done before, which is why Jacksonville makes a perfect place for us to do our case study.
In order to source these plastics, we want to partner with Plastic Bank, which is a company that encourages people from the surrounding areas to bring in plastic, and then once these plastics are brought in, they're able to trade the plastics with different items, services, and money. Right now, Plastic Bank is already established in Haiti, but they're more in the urban communities, and we want to bring them closer to Jacksonville in the rural communities. So once we have this project established and we have the plastics that we need, in order to build these homes, we want to bring over knowledgeable volunteers and to help the Haitians be able to build the homes themselves. So at first we'll be able to teach them how to build the homes, and then by the end they'll be able to build the homes themselves. These buildings or these homes are about an 8 to 12 week process, which is a pretty quick process.
So now, without getting too into detail or too technical, I'm going to briefly go over the actual process of building these homes. So these are the materials that are required. The materials for the foundation and the walls are mostly just found in Haiti already. We're using plastic bottles because they have actually been proven to be more durable than bricks and also more able to withstand earthquakes. And then for roofing, we're using aluminum sheet because it reflects sun better, so it keeps the inside cooler, as well as we're using an earthen floor. These are the tools that we will need. They're pretty common construction tools, and I will discuss in a bit how we will obtain them. So most of the the actual materials for constructing the house will be locally sourced. The plastic bottles, just as mentioned before, since they don't have the trash system, there is plenty of trash to source this from. And we are partnering with the Plastic Bank. Obviously, soil and sand is readily available, as well as straw, and they also have a lot of aluminum sheets. And the tools will be donated from partners, which will be discussed later. The building process begins with making clay, which is used to make the adobe, which is what we are going to use as sort of our cement. The bottles are filled with sand, which is a good insulator for the house. And then you either put the caps on. If you don't have the caps, you just seal it with adobe. So you make your foundation, fill that with adobe, and then you start layering your bottles. You tie the spouts together. This is just for sturdiness. So then you just keep layering, fill all those gaps, and repeat, making sure to include doors, windows. Attach the roof, and for the flooring, there's a metal base layer, and on top of that, we would lay the earthen floor and seal it with beeswax.
So to cover the cost of an earthship home, we wanted to focus on stimulating the workforce and promoting economic growth. as well as keeping the construction cost as low as possible, because construction can get very, very expensive. So costs would contain tools, transportation, as well as labor. Tools, as shown on the right side, would mostly consist of your basic ladders, shovels, string, a lot of things that are really necessary for construction or for building a earthship home. Transportation would which is $7,250, would actually consist of buying trucks to transport the materials, as well as paying for gasoline. And labor, which is going to be the majority of our cost, is $24,000, which would consist of maybe about 5 workers working on the house, and they're working at about twice the national average, which is $4, because we want to promote the economy and promote, to give jobs to the locals. And recyclables and natural resources are free because they're locally sourced, and because we are a nonprofit, we do not expect revenue. So we have 4 nonprofits that we would partnership with. Earthship Biotexture, who focuses on giving us the materials and tools, and is also the inspiration for our project. Plastic Bank, who would help us accumulate the plastic bottles to build the Earthship home. Rebuild Globally, who works with giving jobs to people in impoverished countries, would help fund the labor costs. And Building Goodness Foundation would actually help cover the remaining costs as well as transportation.
We chose to use Haiti as a case study, but the Earthship movement is a global movement, so it can be adapted to various different climates and cultures. Obviously, you see one in the snow, and you see one in the desert. It's all over in all sorts of different countries. Like I mentioned, it is a global project, and we do hope to expand on our project.
And finally, to conclude, there's a Haitian saying that's petit petit oiseau fait niche, and what it means is little by little the bird builds its nest. So us focusing on sustainable homes is just one piece of what these impoverished countries such as Haiti and the rural areas of Haiti need. Obviously, there are more things they need. They need electricity, as other people have covered in their projects. They need other things like waste management, and they need ways to have access to more jobs and to help their economy. But there's only so much one person, one group can do, and so that's why we chose to focus on sustainable housing. We thought it was very important to address that there's not one solution to everything, and that it is a step-by-step process to help fixing global poverty.
Yes.
So you guys mentioned the Haitian earthquakes. Would you look into existing methods of using earthship homes and having an earthquake-proof system at all?
Yes, we would be looking at supporting lateral systems.
Yeah, so water bottles are a really good choice for this because they're very durable and able to withstand the earthquakes, because unlike bricks, they're not going to crumble, and we will have that solid foundation. And there have been, in other places where this has been done, and just in general, they have proven that that water bottles are actually more durable than bricks. So that's one of the reasons we chose that.
Yes.
I'm sure you mentioned this, but where does the revenue come from, and how does that affect individual consumers? Do they pay for it, the people who are building the house?
Yeah.
So so because we're a nonprofit, we wouldn't really be making any money.
Right.
But
to pay for the materials and stuff.
Yes. But yeah, so like Bradley mentioned in his, we have 4 companies that we're working with. The 2 that were on the bottom, if you go back to this screen, these 2 actually already do work in Haiti, specifically with building in Haiti. And so we're going to partner with them to help getting the materials and to help cover all the costs. And as mentioned, Earthship does provide materials. You just sign up that you're building Earthship home, and they provide you all the materials you need. And so between these 4, everything will be covered.
And the people who are living in the homes, they don't pay for the homes, it's donated to them.
Mm-hmm.
Where does the money you pay for labor come from? Or do they provide that as well?
So
Rebuild globally.
So the money would come from Rebuild Globally, who focus their main core goal is to help support jobs for impoverished areas, as well as giving them valuable skills for the workforce.
Yeah. As you mentioned, like regarding the materials, so would there be any material testing to be done?
Material testing?
Yeah.
Well, so as already mentioned, Earthship Homes is global. It's been done before. There's actually been an Earthship home built in Haiti, less in the rural area, more in the outskirts of the urban area, and so they have been tested in the past, and they are like proven. As Angela said, the plastic bottles have also been proven. So all these materials have been done. We're not trying to do anything like huge, like revolutionary. We're trying to bring it to places that don't have these things accessible to them yet.
Yes.
I guess a follow-up to that, has there been testing on like hurricanes for the materials?
Yeah, well, we're not, right now for our case study that we're doing right now, we're not so concerned with hurricanes. Jacksonville isn't really prone to hurricanes because it's not really coastal. Their main problem there is earthquakes. That's really what we needed to focus on addressing.
And the plastic bottles are still really durable, so they are durable for more than like one like natural disaster. But yeah, the coast of Haiti, so the southern shores really was affected by Hurricane Matthew this past hurricane season, and that's really where they saw devastation, and it didn't affect the northern parts of Haiti much. So.
And we just did one example of an Earthship home. Like, we just chose to build ours out of plastic bottles because it's for the case study, but there are lots of other different methods of material for an Earthship home. So if we wanted to expand in different regions that have different natural disasters, we could do research on different methods of Earthship homes that could withstand those specific natural disasters.
Since this isn't like your typical materials, what are the like building codes? Like, is it like a separate set of codes that it follows, or does it still follow the usual building codes?
So I don't really know necessarily about other countries. Like, for example, when we're building in Haiti, we don't really know the specific, like...
They don't have building codes in Haiti,
yeah.
actually. Their government isn't really as focused on that. Even like their Capitol building after the earthquake completely cracked in half and fell apart, and that was like one of the richest places in Haiti because they didn't have like strict building codes.
I guess I'm more just like not specifically, just overall for the like Earthship homes, like even in America or around the world, are they like underneath like a code, or are they kind of separate because it's not the same?
I would be certain that in the U.S., because we are pretty strict about building codes, that they probably would have to live up to building codes. So I think it really just depends on the specific country and the specific building codes they have and just how strict that country is. But I'm sure that a lot of countries would like make sure the homes are up to building code.
And if we're doing something that there is no like written code, because we are a U.S. nonprofit, we would probably base it off our building code.
Yeah, the international one.
Yeah, to make sure that it's safe for everyone.
What is like the standard size of these houses? Like, can you fit a lot of families in there? Is it just one family? Do they have a kitchen, a living room, a bedroom? Like what? I guess what the size be?
Yeah, so we actually didn't say a specific size because we're going to do it based off of the family that needs it. So if it's a 3-person family, they obviously wouldn't need as much space as a 6 or 7-person family. There aren't, usually it's like generally one room is how houses are in Haiti. They're generally pretty small. So we're not trying to change their architecture or like enforce anything. Like we have kitchens in America and stuff like that. They don't really have that as much, or like living rooms. It's very different in the way that they live. And so we're trying to make it based off of their current culture and the way they have their housing. So we're just trying to make it more sustainable for them. And so then we'll also change the sizing based off who, we're fitting.
Thank you.
But yes, typically Earthship homes do have kitchen. They're essentially a normal home that we would see kind of in our culture. Like they have kitchens, they have running water, they have toilets, they have bathrooms, living rooms, bedrooms. But ours is just because we want to stay true to the culture. So we chose not to do that because that's not very typical there, as she explained.
Cool, thank you.